Dear friends of Eureka, welcome to this online celebration of the 35th anniversary of Eureka. I am Frans Verkaat, Chief Operating Officer at the Eureka Secretariat. It's my pleasure to introduce today's high-level speaker. But first allow me to give a very short introduction of Eureka's industry programs. Apart from the SME programs, we have two programs that involve large industrial companies. First, our Investment Readiness Programme. This program is a cooperation between the European Commission and Eureka. The Investment Readiness Programme includes activities that link innovative SMEs to large corporate investors. Through our partnership with companies such as Telefónica, Enel, and Solvay, we establish possibilities for high-tech startups and SMEs to establish sustainable relationships for their mutual benefit. The corporate partners are conscious that great and sometimes even radical new technologies are developed by small and medium companies all over the world. Eureka has well-established SME programs, of which Eurostars is the most well-known. We can leverage this global network of innovators, opening up for these SMEs the world of possibilities offered by large multinational companies. Secondly, we have our Eureka Clusters Programme. The Eureka Clusters are a network of large corporates, SMEs and research institutes working internationally on research and development projects. Each Eureka cluster has its own thematic orientation: software, electronic components and systems, telecommunications, smart manufacturing and energy. The thematic R&D communities that united in the Eureka Clusters Programme work in close cooperation with national public authorities to create economic strength and social benefit for the countries involved. There are similar initiatives at the EU level in the context of Horizon 2020, such as the GPIs and the JTIs. So 2.5 years ago, we asked ourselves the question: is there still added value of the Eureka clusters in the current research and development and innovation landscape? In short, we concluded there definitely is added value. However, it was necessary to make changes. Since then, the Eureka clusters have reinvented themselves. The renewed Eureka Clusters Programme preserves the unique strength of the previous version of the programme, for example, bottom-up, project generation, intensive public and private interaction on project level, and trusted R&D ecosystems that work on the next generation of innovations. However, to realize the full potential of the Eureka clusters as a complementary program to other initiatives at the European innovation landscape, some challenges have been addressed. Clusters have become more agile, meaning that they are more flexible to accommodate R&D cooperation on new and emerging thematic priorities. Industrial strategies of the Eureka countries are regularly updated. The Eureka Clusters Programme is able to respond to these changes in national priorities. The ability to meet industry's needs, combined with the agility to respond to changing national industrial policies, is guaranteed by close interaction between high-level industry representatives and high-level country representatives. I am honored that Dr. Reinhard Ploss, CEO of Infineon and Chair of the Eureka Clusters Industry Committee, will follow with the presentation on the new Eureka Clusters model. Also, I'm very pleased to introduce Mr. Manimaaran, Head of European and Global Portfolio at the Innovate UK, and Chair of the Eureka Clusters Public Authorities Committee. As leaders in public-private dialogue, Dr. Ploss and Mr. Manimaaran embody the spirit of Eureka, innovation through collaboration. But before we hear their statements, it's my honor to introduce Ms. Mona Keijzer, State Secretary for Economic Affairs and Climate Policy of the Netherlands. Ms. Keijzer has been an absolute champion of small and medium-sized enterprises in the last 3.5 years. As part of the Netherlands chairmanship of Eureka in 2019-2020, she was strongly committed to the continuation of Eurostars, as well as to the modernization of the Eureka Clusters Programme. I know she's selected a special location from which she shall address you. Eureka is as strong as the people that maintain it. To all representatives from countries, industry, and the European Commission that have built Eureka now and in the past 35 years, I wish to say that Eureka's birthday is your party. Congratulations.
Good day to you all. Do you know of sea lice? They live on fish and sometimes become predominant, putting the marine environment at risk. Here behind me, a Dutch company, LG Sonic, Romanian and Norwegian partners co-worked to find out how to disarm them in a nature-friendly way by ultrasound technology. This is enabled by the Eurostars program. It is one out of many innovations that inspires and motivates me. Innovations rarely occur by coincidence. They need researchers to climb the ladder of difficulties. Somebody's lessons learned, somebody's eureka moment, somebody's prototype, model and experiment, and tests, tests, tests. That is why the Netherlands has sought for so long to breed innovations beyond borders, and why it's a good idea to celebrate that process at this 35th Eureka anniversary. Thanks to our Austrian Eureka chairmanship for hosting this online conference, and thank you for offering us podcast occasions. For an SME like LG Sonic, the Eureka Clusters Programme can also be very valuable. The Eureka Clusters are communities of industry, SMEs and academia that cooperate on research and development in specific technology areas. As such, Eureka Clusters help SMEs to get crucial guidance, feedback and mentorship from large industrial partners in areas such as AI and electronic components and systems. This marks a fresh start while building on their existing strengths. In the new program, the different clusters are more interconnected and, where appropriate, work together in joint calls. Although it's very early in the transition process, we already see more collaboration between the Eureka clusters, and the first joint call on AI was a success. One of the projects from the AI Joint Cluster Call is an exciting collaboration between the Netherlands, Singapore and Belgium. This project will develop a system to monitor water quality by combining real-time monitoring and detection by using AI. We look forward to more new ways of cluster collaboration, opening up to new themes, so the Eureka Cluster Programme will be agile and flexible to respond to the national priorities of the Eureka countries. So, it's important that we continue this transition towards the modernization of the Eureka clusters to be able to tackle together our mutual societal challenges. In order to make these efforts as attractive as possible for our industry, an impactful budget contribution from the Eureka members is essential. I wish you all a fruitful event and a cheerful celebration of this successful Eureka program over the past 35 years. I look forward to the next 35 years. It will be great, I'm sure. Thank you.
A very warm welcome to all members, supporters of Eureka. Eureka is a great program. It was founded 35 years ago when it came to the consideration, how can Europe create value? How can we work together in a very dynamic manner? Where are needs? And at that time already the information and communication technology was a pressing item. I think the name of Eureka is kind of the program. It is, I got it. Archimedes said so when he recognized how to solve the problem. And we can solve a lot of problems by applying the concept of Eureka. It was designed as an agile, as a dynamic instrument to bring industries together. SMEs foremost, but also SMEs together with a large corporation in order to bring topics forward. And it was successful. Let's think about the time when we founded Jesse, when it was about creating an industry of strengths around microelectronics, followed by ITEA when it was, well, it's very clear, only chips do not make a system. So ITEA is thinking about the system, including the software. And finally, in the new world of communications and IoT, Celtic bring these together in order to have this area of IoT, of the digitization. We have now 3 clusters. And of course, we want to move forward. We want to move these clusters together in order to create an overall topic. The complexity has increased. And we, in this collaboration, want to provide a very clear strategy how to move forward in total. It's fully understood that the public authorities ask, what is the overall strategy? And we say, it's very clear. We, as all the clusters, and by the way, there are more clusters than I only named. We also are incorporating energy, manufacturing, and potentially more to come. But it is a fantastic platform where we identify needs and opportunities, especially opportunities. Eureka is something where we want to identify areas of potential collaboration bottom up. Same time, of course, coming from the top, what do we need? Where is an issue? Where has we a demand in Europe in order to move forward? Bringing this together, this collaboration of the clusters is a key element to be successful. And I'm very impressed to see how many people are teaming up, how people put aside their local priorities, thinking about how can we make it together for the bigger picture. But again, not forgetting, Eureka is a matter of dynamic. It's a matter of agility, identifying these very specific topics. And of course, this also needs that the public authority are ready to go when it comes for a topic here and a topic there. The cluster congregation has to provide the umbrella. We have to make it real. We have to put life inside. I'm very sure that when we celebrate the 50 years anniversary, we will look back and say, fantastic contribution. We would not be where we are in 15 years, in 25 years, or whatever you think about, when we would not have continued the Eureka program. So I'm very glad, I'm impressed what the willingness of the people of the teams are in order to move. Let's make it a success. Thank you for your contribution. Stay tuned and think about what do we want to make different for a successful Europe on a global digitized world.
Hello, my name is Sivasegaram Manimaaran. I'm from Innovate UK, which is the UK's innovation agency, where I head up our European activities. I also currently have the pleasure of chairing the Public Authorities Committee of Eureka, which is a newly established part of the governance structure of the Eureka clusters. In that context, first and foremost, what I'd like to do is to congratulate the Austrian chairmanship and the Eureka Secretariat for all their hard work in keeping the policy agenda moving, despite very challenging operating circumstances. Now, returning to the work of the Public Authorities Committee, or the PAC, what we as a collective of the funding authorities across the Eureka family of countries are trying to do is to identify and prioritize the areas for long-term strategic public-private partnerships in the shape of the Eureka clusters. As with any good public-private partnership, this can't be a one-way process. And in that context, we work very closely with the industry side, and in particular, the cluster committee chaired by Dr. Reinhard Ploss. Now, the clusters themselves are an undoubted Eureka success story to date. There's very clear evidence of impact in terms of increased annual turnover, employment growth, companies entering new markets and gaining market share as a direct result of the support they've gained under the program. It's not a bad tool really to have at our disposal as we look to rebuild post-COVID. However, as with any good tool, we have to make sure it remains relevant, both in terms of how it functions, but also in terms of the areas on which it is focused. And this is basically where we are working together collectively. The work kicked off under the previous Dutch chairmanship and taken forward currently through the Austrian chairmanship has allowed us to make some very good progress in terms of developing the new cluster model and exploring new opportunities for collaboration and bringing together value chains across Europe and beyond. We hope by the end of the current Austrian chairmanship to have the very first multi-annual plan and a framework at the very least through which we can identify new areas for collaboration, which we hope in turn will spur increased investment in the clusters themselves across the Eureka family of countries. So with that, I'd like to congratulate the Austrian chairmanship once more, and I look forward to working with you in developing the cluster framework and putting it on a sustainable footing for the next 35 years. Thank you.